Quality of Life Inquiry: Providing Clean Water by Penelope. Describing the issue. With global warming and populations growing faster and faster, drinkable water is on a steady decline in poorer nations of the world. Some people may not believe this is a big problem and will just leave it for someone else to solve. But can you imagine waking up one morning, turning on the faucet to take a shower, only for nothing to come out, or needing a glass of clean, cool water and getting nothing? Imagine having to choose between dehydration or dying of disease from drinking dirty water. Over 1 billion people around the world are affected by this every single day. Now, does it seem like a big problem? What are some of the main causes of this issue? Just some of the main causes of this major issue include drought. When there's no rain and the climate is extremely hot, water will dry up into the ground. Closer to home, California recently recovered from a roughly 6-year drought that lasted from 2011 to 2017. Restriction by governments. If a country is being run by a dictatorship, there may be restrictions on when and where citizens can collect water. While most places, regardless of having a dictatorship, may have water restrictions, it can be a lot more extreme under one. Distance. If a city or community is situated far from an ocean or lake, water can obviously be very hard to obtain. Citizens will have to travel long, grueling distances just to get a drink of possibly clean water. Social impacts. Some social impacts of water shortages include citizen hostility. Let's go back to our scenario all about the water in your country disappearing. Imagine how confused you would be. Every news story and person in town was talking about it, and yet you still know next to nothing. Would you be angry? Maybe you would start protests against your untrustworthy government, or would you fight with customers at the grocery store to get the last jug of water? Hostility creates a divide between people when they need to work together the most. Sickness and death. When water disappears, keeping yourself clean would be almost impossible. And not being hygienic leads to sickness, and sickness leads to death. In massive amounts, this can be horrible for society. Social impacts continued. World hunger. There are about 570 million farms around the world, and 37% of all land is agricultural land, with farms using 70% of the Earth's fresh water. Farms are one of the only ways humans and some animals on Earth are fed. Without water, crops and farm animals will die, leading to world hunger. Political impacts. There are many political impacts because of water scarcity. In fact, it even has its own name, water politics. This is because water has the very strong possibility to become like oil, a hard-to-obtain substance, and countries that are rich in water will become richer countries. This can put a strain on the politics of said country. It is not only water-rich countries that will be affected. It is most notably in countries where clean water is a lot harder to find. While water-rich countries become richer in money, water-scarce countries become poorer in water and money. Economic impact. Farms. When water shortages occur, it is very obviously hard to operate a farm. And when it's hard to operate a farm, it costs more money. Then the stores they supply have to pay more, and then you have to pay more. And what if you can't afford to pay more? It's a sad reality that many people have to live through. Environmental impacts. When or if a water shortage occurs, these are some of the environmental impacts. Trees. Trees do a lot for our planet. They filter out harmful pollutants from our air and soil like carbon monoxide and ammonia. They also feed humans and animals alike by bearing delicious fruit and nuts. Though, of course, trees need only one thing in return: water. Water is how trees stay alive and create rain through evapotranspiration. When the earth stops providing water to trees, they will inevitably die and leave us with the after effects, like the death of animals that live off trees and the death of animals that live off those animals, rise in carbon monoxide, and a decrease in oxygen, just to name a few. Environmental impacts continued. Animals. Without water, animals, of course, will die, but not only wild animals, farm animals, and pets, then later humans. Ecosystems. When water becomes scarce, wetlands and most other ecosystems will disappear, and the animals that inhabit them will follow suit. Bonus slide. How do we prevent this? We can prevent water shortages by supporting charities that help communities in need. If we can't directly help with the effects of water shortages or directly prevent it, a good option would be to support charities like Life Water, a volunteer-based charity dedicated to providing clean water to those who need it most. Limiting water usage. It's quite self-explanatory. Shave off 5 to 10 minutes from your shower, don't leave the tap running when brushing your teeth, or only pour water that you know you will drink. Not only will this help prevent shortages, but it will also save you some money too. Thanks for watching, and these are my sources.